this episode of Girl, Let's Talk. Listen, we are so grateful that you have been joining us. We are getting your DMs, your emails, your comments, and we are grateful for them, and we want you to keep them coming. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know some of the things that you want to hear from us. Yeah. What you want us to talk about. If you want to come on our show, let us know. Absolutely. We will be more than happy to have you. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're greater together than we are apart. So feel free. But I want to talk to my girls today. I want to talk to my girls today about relationship with women. Okay. And how we feel about, okay, so since we've been having the podcast. Sure. Everybody want a podcast. And I encourage it. Absolutely. I encourage it. I encourage that if this inspires you, or if you've been inspired by somebody else, and now this made you say, let me go on and do it, whatever the case may be, because I always relate stuff back to the word of God. It says some plant, some water, and God gives the increase. So in other words, you may have gotten the idea 10 years ago, and then somebody came along and kind of sparked your interest in it again, whatever the case may be. If it made you want to do it, then that means that you need to do it. Because for us, it's been therapeutic. For me, it has. Absolutely. But I know that for us to do this, and us being, women of influence in our own right, it has not come without its share of comments and feedback, and we talked about this at some other point in our lives together about how women can't coexist together. You're always having to be pitted up against each other and compared to one another, and saying, I don't know if people mean well by that, or I'm going to assume positive intent. They may mean well, and they very well may be, but sometimes the aftermath of it is breeding an insecurity, where you may feel like, hey, you guys are good, but you need to speak up. Or you guys are good, but why she sitting where she's sitting? Or you guys are good, but, da-da-da-da-da. That kind of breeds like an insecurity that happens. And I noticed that it happens. It's not just something that's happened here on the podcast, but maybe just in normal everyday life. Like, why she your friend and why she not? And you think it sounds elementary, but it's like real life. It really is how women feel. Like, you're right. Just this hierarchy kind of thing. Like, I gotta know I'm number one if I matter. Or I need to capitalize on your time to let me know, if you give me your time, then I know it's real. I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. I don't know what that is. I grew up in I grew up in a home full of women. Okay. I am the 5th daughter of Margaret and Stan Jackson. So, it was 5 girls and my mother. And don't bring a friend. So it was always women in the household. And I don't know if I realized, I think in our dynamic, let's just bring it closer to home. In our dynamic, I think I'm more of a noonie.
And what do you mean by that?
Noonie, like, see, I always think everybody just get along.
Everybody gonna be okay.
You're okay.
I'm noonie.
I can kind of,
I'm really noonie.
Feel in, but now ask
Until
yourself,
that
like,
noon
where you
become a no.
You no, ask yourself, like, which one are you? Like, where do you fit in? Because, like, say, for instance, me, I notice in our friendship, I am similar to the way that I am in my family's friendship, even though I have a big personality. And I do. I have a big person. I know I do. I have a big personality. And I always think everybody has room for my personality. But that's not always true. Sometimes my personality can leave someone else feeling depleted or unheard or unseen.
It was already there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you just brought
that
it
was there.
Absolutely. It is. But then, like, how do you, I always say that, like, that's not my problem, right? But it sounds insensitive, but it's not. How you felt before you got here, or what you had going on before you got here, wasn't my issue.
Right.
And I don't want to shrink or dummy down, to make you feel okay.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I don't. I think it's room for all of us. I think the problem is that you're not okay, that it's not your time.
Right.
And your cycle of time may not come to the 7th cycle. because there may be 6 people before you, and I think sometimes that make women feel inferior to other women. But honestly, to me, that makes a woman stand out.
But what happens when it's all your time at the same time?
You know what? In ebbs and flows like that, I guess I learned a lesson early about rejoice with those who rejoice. I didn't know that it was scripture. And I know people by now thinking, well, I should just talk like that. But honestly, y'all know how I talk. Like, this is just how I talk. I don't know why it just relates back to me. My sisters know it. I've been this way since a child. When I learned about the Word of God, when I learned those biblical principles, that this is what I lived by. But, you know, when it's all your time at the same time, then to me, it's no line of demarcation. We all celebrating.
Right.
But honestly, we are not able to do that. Everybody's not able to do that. And everybody doesn't know not to bring their insecurities to the table. Everybody don't know.
I remember when I met you, probably like some months into the relationship, you know, you shared with me that a lot of times when your friends would come into your life or into your family's life, that they would become jealous of your relationship with your sisters. And so, but it wasn't like that with me.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was.
And
Actually,
so,
you became a sister. Like,
Yeah.
when you were a little older than me, you said you was the 5th sister.
4.5.
I'm 5.
You was
So
5.
was you 4.5? Or no, you said you was 5, I was 6.
Oh, okay.
Or 7, because my niece thinks she a sister too. My niece
Yeah.
Katie.
I mean, I loved it. I thought
Right.
like, wow.
But they
like,
do. But I think it's enough love to go around.
Yeah. But they started putting themselves in this, you know, and I don't understand that though.
I don't understand that, because it's not, it's like, I know people want to be seen and be heard, but I don't know if people understand that there's a place for that. That sometimes it's not your place. You know, like at our last Christmas party, I didn't have nothing going on. It was about April. And all I wanted to hear about, remember we had prayed for it. But see, to me, I think different. Because I was a part of the prayer a year or two early.
Brunching babes.
That she wanted to be a part.
$1 million. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go right ahead.
She wanted to be a multi-million-dollar realtor. And so at our last Christmas party, she had become, or had been, a multi-million-dollar realtor. And so at that time, it was her time. It was her time. I was in school, child. I had just barely turned the paper in. I wasn't hitting on nothing, you know? But it was like, that was April's time. Like, man, she was sitting on that. That was huge.
And those are huge moments in our lives. But I think that for me, I'm not one to really. I can celebrate you guys all day long. I can.
But you know what? When you have hit a milestone, it hits different. When you are celebrated, it just does.
It does.
It hits different.
It does.
And that's the thing about being a part of a tribe, because honestly, everybody can't handle being a part of a tribe, because it's not always about you. It's
See,
just
like
not.
me and April have similar characteristics. Like, we don't have to be in the front.
Right.
Like, I can play the back and I'm going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? I can stand in the back. You don't even have to know that my name is on anything or I'm a part of it. Like, I don't have to have the shine. You know, if you get it, then good. But I'm not going around saying, oh, I'm this and I'm that. And I did this and I accomplished that.
Right.
You know, like, you can literally sit back, because people will see it. You know, they will see it. But everybody's not like that. They have to be seen. They have to be heard. They have to be in the front of everything. And so I think that's when it becomes a problem, you know.
I guess what I'm talking about is a book called Attachment. I'm saying it wrong, and I'll get it to be put across the screen. But it's kind of like this attachment thing that happens in life, and how you grow up, and how you are attached, how you deal with your attachments. If you have abandonment issues, if you have, you know, issues of, you know, just insecurities, and how it shows up in your everyday life.
Right.
In your in your everyday life.
Yeah.
And you may feel like, well, I haven't talked to my friend lately, and then you bring that over into your friendship, or that you haven't talked to her lately, and then you equate that back to your mom years 20, 30, 40, 50 years earlier, when, you know, not talking to her or not talking to a friend for an extended period of time meant the end of that friendship. So now that's your attachment style, and you bring it over here into this situation, and you hadn't talked to this friend in a certain amount of time, and you now have gone back to when you was 12, and that didn't work out, and you over here in your 40s and 50s, and you now are with your friend saying, why haven't we talked? And you spending the time that y'all are together questioning the entire existence of the friendship because of your attachment style of what you had experienced many years ago that you hadn't reconciled, that didn't, this is not that.
Right. But I think that has nothing to do with the actual friendship, if you will. That's that person's
insecurity.
That's that person needs to do some work and recognize that there's some unsettled, unresolved things in my life that I really need to get a hold of. And I say that because I come from a large family, and a lot of my family members have large personalities. I'm probably the one that's a little bit more subdued, and I can kind of be in the bag and whatever. But I do know that growing up, I always wondered why I wasn't wanted because of how I grew up, because of my father not being there, my mother not really being there. And so I always felt that I really wasn't wanted and didn't really have a place. So as I grew older, I never wanted anybody that was attached to me to feel like they didn't know where they belonged in my life, that I wasn't present, that they didn't know that I treasured them, or
in that
them
book,
being
Attachment
in that.
Styles, it's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
So now you have codes of conduct or best practices that you have in your life. They derived from how you were when you were younger, and it has set the tone for how you interact in your relationships now. Of why you have to have the check-ins with your husband, and why you have to have the check-ins with your friends to make sure we're good. I'm not saying you. I'm talking about as far as in attachment style.
Right.
For me, my attachment style is I don't think I've ever really worried. And because my family, they were there. And when I started going through betrayal, because I started to experience betrayal, because with success comes betrayal. And I've gone through a period of maybe the last 15 years of trying to stay under the radar because I didn't want to experience that betrayal anymore. And so I will be under the radar, and I want to be standoffish, and I don't want to give too much, and I'm going to just do my assignment, but I get nothing out of it. It's solely for that person or that other person. And so, with that being said, that way I can clearly say, oh, that you on your own on that one. You made that in your own head because we didn't have nothing. But that still is an attachment style because it's one-sided. You build up a wall, no one can get in, but you can't get out either. And so you have no fulfillment, no joy. There's no reciprocity. And anything that has no reciprocity cannot survive.
Right. Absolutely.
It's going to die. And you have to have that in your relationships with men and women. And I think, we was talking about, can women run in packs, or why can't women run in packs? Is because I think sometimes we feel like, well, somebody has to be the lead, and somebody has to be the head, or somebody got to be the boss, which I'm starting to hate that. Yeah. I'm starting to hate that. I really am, because I think we have normalized the misuse of what it means
to be a boss. So, in your opinion, you feel that women cannot run in packs?
No. My opinion, I believe that we can.
Okay.
I know that we can.
Okay.
I have 4 sisters. It's 5 of us. Every last one of us are different in our own right. Not one of us is the same. We have failed marriages. We have very successful marriages. We had marriages unto death. We have multimillionaires. And we were raised to be able to coexist together. We are who we are. And we were raised that way. And I know we can run in pack. We've healed through the deaths of our parents together. And that was my foundation. And we are not all the same. I do not agree with them on everything that they do. I don't see eye to eye on them with everything that they do. I just don't. You know, and you know, it's just life. It's like life with you guys. We don't agree on everything. How you run your household, it's not quite how I would run my household, but I have no judgment for it.
Right.
It's how you run your household. And I think I learned that from being, you know, from growing up. So I do believe you can, but I honestly believe that has come from learning how, or learning my lane. There were times growing up, there were intentional things that I know now that my parents did. That's why it hurts so bad now that my parents are gone, because I want to ask them, why did they choose, you know, what was their philosophy? Back then I saw it, but I didn't know what the thought process behind it was. But one of the things that got you like the beat down in your life was fighting with your sisters. And there was another thing that like my dad was adamant about. Like don't freaking question it. Is that if it was shopping for you, April, don't come over here with no jeans for yourself. It's
Right.
April time. And April would go to the dressing room, and all of us would come for whatever occasion it was for you. But usually, what I remember, it was back to school, and we would go and we would bring April her back to school stuff. It was her night, and I don't know if it was fully like that. My sisters may have other vivid memories, but that was my memory of it. And it was like that was that. You didn't go look for your stuff. You went to look for April stuff. And so that's how I think I learned how to live my life and coexist with other women. And
That's
so
not everybody's story.
yeah, it's not. And I learned that the hard way though.
So I have a question. So how would you, if you have a friend that's in that space, in your space, or in a tribe, or in a circle, whatever you want to call it, and how do you communicate that
I'm
with
not good
them?
at that. You know what? I've failed. I failed at that. I'm not the
Communicating
best.
it?
Because I have no tolerance.
Exit stage left.
It's a zero tolerance. And that's not always the best way
It's
though.
not.
Because if I said that I was going to be my sister's keeper, then it was another way.
Right.
So I'm not proud of that council culture. I'm not proud of how I've always handled things. That's not always
Sure.
the best way to do it. Sometimes you do need the cool off period, you know, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to X you out of my life. That means I'm going to X your kids out. That means I'm going to X everything. Like, you never existed. Or you dead to me. Or is this a season that we just don't see eye to eye?
Right.
I don't know. I'm not proud of that with me. I can't say that I am. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people that we don't mix.
And
You want to be who you are.
wherever you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my saying. You're going to be who you are wherever you go. You can lie and say you don't gossip, but baby, I believe that your family know you gossip. The people on your job know you got, you know, I promise you, if I go talk to a stranger who don't know me but know you, they're going to tell me what I know at this point because you're going to be who you are. However, I can't say that I've always handled other women's mishaps right. You know, like when I meet women and they tell me they see me from my podcast or from my Instagram, I instantly hug them. Because I want to hug the imperfections that they had to have seen in me. You know, I want to let them know I see you, I feel it. You know, it's disheartening, you know, but not every relationship is going to work, and not every relationship will work. Some things are seasonal. But there are times, and I learned this late in life, and I mean within the last maybe 3 to 4 years, that some things I made seasonal that wasn't seasonal. I made it seasonal.
You made it season.
I
can
did
attest to that.
Yeah.
And God is not saying I want you to go back and get it, but He is saying to me, when that situation comes back around, I want you to do that different.
That's right.
Right.
I
Yeah,
agree
absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, I do.
I don't have to go back. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah,
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Trying to understand what
Forgiveness and
was.
reconciliation.
Two
Two
different
Different
things.
things. And I always struggle with the reconciliation.
Reconciliation.
You know, it was like I was part of me, but I felt like I was forgiving you. But it's like, but now that I see who you are, I'd rather not deal with it, and I'll just move on because I don't like conflict.
Right.
You know, I don't.
Right.
I just don't like conflict. You know, and it was times that I wouldn't even have the conversation You remember, like, she was like, you don't get to just walk away from people. I was like, I've been doing it. And she was like, no, you need to go back and have a conversation as to why you feel or why you walking away from these relationships. And I was like, I don't like confrontation. So I'll just rather you know, and then now it's like, I can tell you, you hurt me when you did da-da-da-da-da, or I didn't like it when you did da-da-da-da-da, and that's how you receive it. But it's like now I can have the conversation, and now what we going to do with it? We can move on.
But I mean, does that come with expectations, though? Like, I have no expectations of coming from that conversation that we have.
It doesn't always.
It's not, yeah.
But if you can receive what I'm saying, and I've had this conversation with you and you receive it, then maybe we can kind of figure out, like you said, this wasn't that. Yes. So don't, or I can tell you, don't go down that dark road because it's dark, and you've seen people go down that road. So let's not do that.
Right.
So, but it was times that were, if I saw you going down that dark road, I'm just gonna let you go on down because now what you doing?
Sometimes we fall into
because
that
I've
trap.
had it to happen so many
Right.
times, and it's like I don't want to keep defending myself. You know, I can't keep defending myself. You know who I am. I tell people, where are the people that stand up for you when somebody bring you some mess? Where are the people that say, I don't know that person?
Right.
I have never seen that person. Where are those people? Versus getting in the sandbox with them, and then now you feeling some type of way, knowing that she's done this for me, or she's been that for me, or is it her or is it me? Am I jealous or what? Am I feeling?
What's going on?
You know, like what is it?
What is it?
But that doesn't always happen. You know, you just decide, well, I'm gonna get in the sandbox too. I'm gonna go. Well, she is, everything is, you know.
Because, you know, they want to believe that what they went through had nothing to do with them. I'm going to just make this up. Let me just make this scenario up, right? I'm in a situation. I have a situation right here with this person. And then I part ways with this person, and this person comes over here. And this new person and I we're talking. And the old person talks to the new person, and they want them to say, well, I don't know if you should deal with Marci because this is what she did to me. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Could it be true that what she did to you was because of what happened with you and her? And you got that response? And then if it happened to the new person, could that very well be the case?
It could be.
Yeah, y'all did this. Let me say this. You stole money. I'm just making this up. This ain't the case. You stole money. New person stole money. She cussed both of y'all out. And then you say, she mean, she cussed people out, and she says she a Christian. Well, what did y'all do? Did you do some unforgivable things or some things unfathomable? I cannot say that word. Today, I ain't been able to talk.
Unfathomable.
Things.
I'll tell you why later.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so those things that you do to people, that you bring that there, you know what? I can't stand that thing where we say you not, you know, you not, you showed me a different, you fake, that fake side. No, I'm not fake, but there are multiple sides to me. Okay, there's that professional Marci, and it's that get with you Marci. Okay, that's that no nonsense Marci. That is that Marci that I don't know you, but I want to be cordial. You know, and I gotta put those different hats on. And then it's that Marci that you have crossed the boundary, and I want you to get back over on that other side of that fence. You met her because you crossed the boundary. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And so sometimes I think well, let me scratch all that. I'm saying all that to say that when you get those people in your life and they've decided they're ready to form a campaign against you, anti-Rachel, anti-April, anti-Marci, I'm going to go on this campaign trail. And I want to get everybody who's anti-whatever. And I want people to validate my feelings of how I believe she did me wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I call it, you know what I call it?
Yeah, campaigning.
Campaigning.
That's what I'm saying. Where are those people, very few far in between, that stand up and say, no, you wrong.
Yeah.
Or
because
I have an
right.
experience.
I see, yeah.
Like,
or let's just say she did snap at me, but my snapping and your snapping, two different situations. And she have a right to snap. We're not talking about the same thing. Like let me be honest here. Let's just say, let's give a fairly real scenario. Let's just say, because I always believe, and me and you have talked about this, because anything that they saying be true. Okay, is it true?
Could it possibly be true?
Could anything, any way, what they're saying about you is true? And if it is the part that's true, let's use that and go higher with it. That's hard to do. But in a case like that, so let's just say it is true that they don't went on the campaign trail and they got some people to campaign with them, and the part that they're holding on to is true. Then what can you do about it? And they've already turned. Well, I don't need you at the point that you decide to join coalitions or forces with these people to be on my side. I don't need that. Okay. What if I snapped at you and you feel like it's irreconcilable, we can't come back together on that, that's fine, stay over there. However, then I want to be able to use that to my advantage to be better. However, and then I don't need you to speak up for me in that case either, because for some reason you took that to mean that everything that I've done with you that was good.
It cancels it out.
It cancels it out. Then I really don't need you over here. You know, it's like sometimes when they go on that campaign trail and they do gather people who feel like, well, yeah, she snapped at me and she is mean and yada yada yada, and we all against her. At that point, I don't need you now over here to say no different. You feel what you feel, you know, and you're thinking it drove your behavior. I felt the distance. I don't need you to do no different, and I'll use that to my advantage. But what I mean by that is, you're saying, is there anybody who will speak up for me to say, I don't even want to get that far to figure out what you're talking about. If I'm making sense right now, if I'm saying to you that she's upset with you, and I'm making this up, she's upset with you, or let's just spin it. I'm upset with you, and I go over here to talk to you. I don't. And I want you to understand what I'm saying. You very well may be. You may remember a time that Rachel said something to you and it hurt your feelings too. Because now my feelings are hurt. The thing wouldn't be to say, I identify with you, Marci. The thing would be to say, either can y'all reconcile or to pull away from it. Because if you're wanting to hear my side to how you can reconcile, then that's one thing. Or if you're wanting me to not, if I'm saying, I don't want y'all to I don't want y'all to be where y'all are because I'm not where we are.
Right.
Were. You see what I'm saying?
And I usually would say,
That's
like
campaigning.
you say, I usually try and get people to see themselves in that situation. And what did you say? What did you do? Or even if you come back and say, oh, such and such said da da da. Well, what did you say?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
What part did you play?
What part did you play? And most people will leave that part out.
They don't
but
ever say that.
I am that friend that nobody can come and tell me something about my friend and I'm going to get on the bandwagon with you. Because if I know you, I know you. You know what I'm saying? I am not that chick where you can convince me with no bull crap.
Because you're a pretty cool chick.
I'm a pretty cool chick.
Super,
you know?
super
pretty
cool
chick. Don't forget the super.
I got it.
And so, like, I've just never been that way. You know, like, I guess maybe I'm not weak-minded. I've never been a follower. Even like I shared with you guys before, like before this business, I didn't deal with women because of drama. It just seemed like it always attached some type of drama. You know, you hear the things, and if I would hear it, I'd walk away. Like I just didn't and I don't understand it. And you guys both know I've sat on the couch for that, of having to deal with that over the years in this business and building friendships. Like I'd be like, what's wrong with them? Or like then I said, you know what? Let me go see if something wrong with me. You know, like, am I attracting these kind of people? And I would call those people needy. And I know I don't do well with needy people. I need you to have your own voice. I need you to have your own your own personality, because sometimes I'm going to do me, and then sometimes I'm going to do us. And when I ain't doing us, I need you to know we can pick right back up. If I don't talk to you for 2 years, we can just pick up on that same conversation, and you don't feel no type of way. Because I did experience that when Marci came along. Marci ain't the only person. You know, like I would hear that all the time. She is not the only person. But they didn't know the season that I was in. Like,
Right.
I met her at the beginning of my journey, my spiritual journey of figuring out who I was.
Right.
And then also Lolita, because remember I was going to counseling with her, and then I met Marci, and so like I didn't explain. I got tired of explaining myself, and I was no longer going to explain myself.
Those people started being. The crazy part about it is your journey and how those. Okay, so you started going through your spiritual journey, and at that time, I was trying to stay in stealth mode, under the radar, so that I could not deal with the things that I had experienced over here. So when I came into your life and started trying to go into stealth mode where I don't have to, because what I mean by stealth mode is where you don't want any friction, you want no conflict with nobody. You want to just be quiet and people be quiet around you. You don't want no confrontation, you don't want nothing. But then when I came into Rachel's life, a lot of her friends became very territorial, wanted me to know where they were in her life, and thought it was okay to confront me about being in her life. And I was in stealth mode. And so there was a lot of times she would invite me places, I'd leave. Like I'd show up and be like, oh, okay. And then I would leave. Because you'd be like,
and that's the noonie part of me, thinking that everybody can get along.
She thought they could.
That I can invite everybody that I love into this one space. But it doesn't always work because somebody's going to get territorial. But that's that neediness, you know. I can't relate to that because that's not me. I can come into your world and you and your friends, and I can just fit right in. And then I'm going to just take my little tail back on.
You go on and you be okay. I don't need nothing.
I'm not trying to compete with you or your friends, you know, in where I am in your life because I know you love me.
Right, absolutely.
Or it was supposed to be that unless your attachment issues were left unchecked.
From when you were 6.
Right.
Yeah, back then. 12, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know, it was. And so then you bring that into your adult life and you think y'all on the playground and you start trying to fight unfairly. And so I was trying to be in stealth mode because at this point I went through that period to where you have the friends and they become territorial and it's this whole kind of like fight that's going on. I was looking for peace. Because just because she was going through her spiritual journey, mine was already in motion.
Right.
And so me accepting someone in my life was accepting the friendship, the assignment, and everything that went with it, but not the turmoil. So I started to see
where that was. So it's interesting for me because growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends. Again, it was my family. You know, we were just a really close family. And my great-grandmother used to tell me and my sister, you ain't got no friends. Your only friend is Jesus.
I wish I had those kind of stories.
You ain't got no friends.
I want them grandma stories.
Yeah, I mean, but she would
chicken.
tell us that all the time, like, we ain't got no friends. And so, you know, for me, I really didn't start becoming close with other people, women, until I got much older in life. And my feel is that I just want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to get along. I've learned that everybody you can have numerous friends, but all of your friends can't be together all the time in certain settings. So you have to learn how to maneuver that that's going to, you know, benefit you, you know, and benefit what it is you're trying to do.
I really don't think you can mix your friends. I don't. Unlike like in my friendship,
and that's true.
I don't mix them.
I've never been anywhere with any of her friends ever.
And I have.
As a matter of fact, I don't think I ever met them.
You've met different ones of them at different times.
Oh,
but it's just been just them two,
right?
Or like and it'd be a situation where you have to do something and you leave. And it wasn't on purpose. It was because I chose them.
That way.
She didn't.
Right.
Meaning like I chose Rachel. They didn't.
Right.
And I don't want to put anybody in a situation to where I'm forcing you or putting you in a situation to where you even have to think about accepting her. That's my friend, and I don't need you to
weigh in or validate it or
Yes.
anything. Yeah, I get that.
And if,
I get that.
I didn't need it. So yeah, I have friends that I have been friends with for over 20. I'm 46. Maybe I'm going to say almost 30 years that I have been friends with to this day, that I have talked to Friday. However, do they know about my life? Do they accept it? Yes. They'll be like, where y'all and Rachel going? Or where you and y'all going? You know, and I love that. Yeah. Matter of fact, I say more older than that because like Nedra Faith 6, I met her when I was 16. Yeah. So the thing about it is, for me, I consider myself a nomad. And it's a lot of things that I have to do is seasonal. And I need people around me to be okay. You know, and to be okay with it. But the one thing that I have to stress is that it's very important because of who I am. I can't shrink. I don't want to shrink. And I don't want to be made to feel like I need to shrink so that you could be okay. Because just think about it. What if my shrinking so you could be okay is detrimental to me, to cause me to spiral out of control into a depression? Right. You have no earthly idea. Right. It's not always about you.
You're right. I agree with that.
And so I go out of my way to make you feel comfortable and okay with yourself, and then I go home and have to build myself back up because I done gave so much. Now, don't get me wrong. I think God, I know I have a special assignment. Like I know what my purpose is in life. I do. And usually it is never for me to be, it's for me to be Marci, but in a way that I can share my life with somebody to help them. And not everybody has to think that way. I have accepted that. Sometimes that's in the front, and sometimes, most of the time, it's in the back. And I'm okay with that. I understand my lot in life, but where I have had my struggle, and I thought that I had found my peace with, is that in these friendships with women, being able to be okay or trying to help others be okay with who they are in the presence of other women. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you, once again, how do you communicate that? Like, is that a conversation? Do you be like, you know, friend, you know, like, I don't know, like, how do you communicate that and
I
make
say
them
open,
be okay?
Right.
You can't make them be okay, but I think transparency is key. And how you take it is how you take it, but it's out there on the table. So if I've cooked bacon, eggs, ham, pancakes, we know we're serving breakfast. So if I tell you this is what this is, you know. Like if I say we're serving breakfast and somebody said, well, you know, they had that, you know, they was talking about dinner. You can already combat that because you saw the breakfast. Well, with me, I feel like I would like to be transparent that, let's just say, I'm going to just use us.
Okay.
In this friendship, I've always said, like, I met you guys. When I came into y'all's life, I met y'all because y'all was already in full throttle when I came along. But my stance to everybody, and I believe at some point I said to your friends and anybody else, your family, that I have enough love for everybody. I've always said that. And the reason that our friendship worked was because she was receptive to what I had to offer. And I was receptive to what she had to offer. And it would be vice versa for anybody else that I came in contact with. If you are receptive, then we're going to work.
Right.
You know, it'll work if you're receptive. If you have I'm going to say this for the sake of the podcast, but if you have a shady bone or if you have an ulterior motive or what have you, we don't work. Like, I kind of don't mix with that because I will straight side out at. If I feel like I turn my back and you whispering.
Because it's going to come out.
It's going to come out.
It's going to come out.
If I feel it, I don't want no parts of it.
Right.
And then I become distant. Now, I'm not making it about me because I think that it's a situation that all women face, but then it is to the detriment of you because I believe that God brings us into each other's presence for something. It's something you were supposed to get. Right. But because you and your insecurities was the way that you were, you're not going to get it. And sometimes that season will come back, and there are others where it will not. You will move forward without whatever that lesson was, You will move forward without it. Do not be mistaken in thinking that you're gonna get everything from God that you were supposed to get. That's that thing that says what's for me is not true. You can't. God said to Solomon, everything that I told him, it was for him, and it didn't fall to the ground. But you know why? Do you know why he said that? Because Solomon was obedient to everything God told him. So everything that God told him was contingent upon obedience. If somewhere in there,
that's the key.
Yes. So let's just say a lesson come your way and you are disobedient. I'm gonna be stubborn. I'm gonna operate in unforgiveness. I'm not going. I ain't gonna talk. I'm not gonna forgive. You gonna miss something.
You gonna miss a lot.
Miss something.
So it's foolish to say, well, what's for me is for me. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. No, that's the devil, and he is a lie. You are not, and you be wondering why your growth is stunted. And you should be here, and you're still here. It is something. Now, the beautiful thing about it is God is a redeemer of time. As soon as you get it, he can bring you up to par. But if you die, it will go to the grave with you, that you did not get what he told you to get. That's the biggest misconception. And that thing that we have normalized, that how we are is okay. So what? You say, well, that's just how she is. No, that ain't.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble in our friendship with that. Like, just let her be. For what? It's making me miserable and her too.
Well, and that would be me. I used to defend people a lot. Well, she okay? Like, well, no, that's just
You just
how
got to get to know them.
You just got to get to know
You got
them.
to get to know them.
And really, like, that's how they are in every relationship. And so it's following you into not only your marriage, your friendships, like you said, on the job. And if it's following you, it's you.
It's you.
And everywhere you go, it's stink.
It stinks. And so the thing about it is, like, what's wrong with me? I was listening to Kevin Gates. I like to listen to podcasts, and I like to listen to documentaries and things like that. And so Kevin Gates would say that every argument that he and his wife had was because she was trying to make him better. He just combated it. It was hard for him to accept it.
That's good.
She wasn't, it wasn't something stupid that she was asking for. All the things resulted to the common denominator. Kevin, be better. You want to go sleep with all them women? That's really what you want to do with your body? You want to just give it to some prostitute? And even though you think you may, like, this is, even though you may think you getting something out of it, like, oh, I had sex with her and it was good and it was great, I did it. He said, she was like, what he was saying, and this is my take on it. He was saying, she defiled your body. She's been with a lot of men. That's what you want to bring home? Let's just say, forget your wife. That's what you want to tell your daughter? And that's what you want to teach your son? So he was like, I had to come to that higher level of thinking.
But he got it.
He got it. And so whatever, if their marriage worked or didn't work, but he still walked away with the higher level of thinking that I got to be better to myself than I have been.
A lot, but I believe that a lot of people, especially to deal with issues of insecurity and let me rephrase that have insecurities and aren't willing to do the work to overcome them.
That's the key.
They like to stay in that space. They're not trying to have a higher level of thinking.
No.
Did y'all hear my
And that
voice?
was my struggle. Like, I'd be like, I want more for you. Like, I
Right.
see something in you, and I would get frustrated that either you just wasn't trying to grow, or you wasn't trying, or you just want to stay there.
But you know what? In life, there's evolution, because I even want to be transparent.
Yeah.
Because just recently, I was going through a period of insecurities myself, where I didn't feel like, okay, we want to do this podcast. I'm not where y'all are. Y'all are okay, and I'm trying to build out of school and da 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 da. Like, I'm trying to figure some stuff out. For me, I'm trying to do that, and an insecurity could set in. That is an insecurity where I'm feeling like that, and honestly, me and you had that talk, and you was like, okay, well, honey. And let me tell you, and then this, and this, and this, and this. So it's not necessarily that you have the insecurity, it's how long you choose to stay in it. Because depending on where you are in your life, when that insecurity comes, it's a wound. It's really what the insecurity is. It's a wound. Whether I have a wound about my body, whether I have a wound about my career, whether I have a wound about my marriage, whether I have a wound about what my finances, whatever those things are, where you feel like you're wounded and everybody else is okay, and they're not catering to my wound, then I don't belong here, or I'm angry with them because they don't see or handle my wound like with kid gloves. And so then
that
you
was
just
the part
fall
that I
on
never
yourself.
could, and that's the part that I never really could understand, because I walked through everything that you just said with a smile on my face and still celebrated everybody where they were. But that was just me, so I didn't understand when it wasn't reciprocated.
But that's attachment issues. So then okay, so then we'll wrap it up, because girl, we got to talk about this later.
Child, because we can go on and on.
And on and on.
Okay, but okay, I want to close with this. Here's the thing. We talked about attachment issues and when you were younger and how you would attach to your relationships, right? And that would determine how you would be in the relationships in the future. Every relationship. Every relationship. The teacher didn't call my name. She must not like me. My hand was raised first. She didn't like me. No, baby, she is nearsighted and she just didn't see you. You know, so it's your attachment issues then will determine how you would interpret what would happen to you in the future in relationships. So I can celebrate everybody else. Why can't everybody else celebrate me and not walk away? But then were they in a relationship where they were not seen or heard, or, you know, or what have you, or they were abandoned, or what have you? Do they have anxiety issues? Because it is like an anxiety attachment there. They get anxious in situations where it looks like it could be the end, because maybe in the past that is what happened. It ended if conflict arose. So they anxious when things arise, or whatever. That's a whole nother podcast. But the point that I'm making is, the thing about it is to accept everybody where they are. Have no expectations for them on your meter. It's theirs.
Right. Absolutely.
I can't measure you by my yardstick. In business, which we'll talk about, I remember a lot of times we miss opportunity in business because, you know, when you had your last $100, you didn't want to spend it, but you can't treat your customer like that. She may want to spend all of it. So
I want to say this: go get you some help. Go get on the couch.
Get on the couch.
And get out that bondage.
normalize.
Get out.
Normalize
that
it.
bondage.
Normalize
Yes.
church so that you can hear the word. And I think the therapist will practicalize what you hear in the
right.
scripture.
That's
That's
right.
what it is. To me, it goes
Yeah.
hand in hand.
Yeah,
You're not
it
going to
does.
get it all on Sunday. You won't get it all on Sunday. Because even for me, understanding the word, I'm what would be considered a scholar. But even then, I still need to understand or break down that word, because if I'm going to make it applicable to my life, I got to understand it in a rudimentary way. You know, I have to break it down. And then I need to break it down to where I can see it through my filters.
Okay.
With a 2-parent household. You may break it down different, whatever, but it doesn't mean that it's diminished because it was done different.
Right.
Different doesn't mean cancel. Woo!
And don't always assume negative intent.
Always assume positive intent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That was taught to
Yeah.
me early. My sister
Yeah.
April taught that to me. You know, I've been following her. She's ramping up her social media, and I can't wait for her to find her voice. My sister April has been a mentor for me, honestly, in business and just in life, even though I had the Bible like sewed up, but her making it up the corporate ladder and how she handled things about being a servant leader and about assuming positive intent. That's where I got that from. And I always would teach that in management. In my where I've worked, is that I would always talk to my employees about assuming positive intent. That if you thought, if you were to assume positive intent, would you come up with that conclusion? If it was a positive intent, or would
Right.
you always assume that they meant to harm you? Or were they just trying to get to their car early because they had to pick their kid up? Okay. All right, girl. Let's talk later. We have truly enjoyed you. Until we meet again. We missed our girl Tish today, but she'll be back on
will be
next
back.
episode. Thank you, guys. Listen, we are professional entrepreneurs. We work in the marketplace. We enjoy each other. We want you to enjoy your tribe. Send us DMs about your tribe. Send us pictures to our social media about your tribe. We want to start reading your story and being a part of your story. All right? God bless you. Until next time.
Pass me like they nothing, like they nothing. 'Cause I'm